Hello everybody, you are now live with me in another event with me. Sorry, I'm Sansarun, I'm on Chai, but you can call me Ben. I'm a sales engineer from the marketing division. Today, you are here with me with a very interesting topic named the solution for greener tomorrow. You know that, right, that nowadays trend of the world tend to go to the more greener and more eco-friendly. So it is good to be well prepared for the new wave of the refrigerant. So before we go to the presentation, I would say that if you have any question, you can leave your question here in the live chat and we will answer some of it in the end of the presentation. So I think right now we have some audience already, so let's start. So before we going deep into detail, I would like to start with the general idea about the people nowadays, or even in the ancient era, we are craving for cooling weather for a long time ago. Even nowadays, we really need the cooling in every aspect of the life. For example, when you going into the convenience store and you grab some drink or food, the food needs to be chilled, right? And it's good for the producer and also consumer. So if you look in terms of the timeline, so this slide I will show you how important the refrigerant is. Start with a long time ago from the Egyptian. The Egyptian used wet grease to cooling the house down by putting it in the socket of the window and let the hot wind blow to it to make the house more cooler. And later on in the Chinese ancient, we also invented fan to create the chill weather by ourselves. Later on in 1902, Willis Carrier invented the modern air conditioning in our world. Later on in 1930, the company named DuPont started to create the well-known refrigerant named Freon 22 or R22 that we already know, and also the Freon 12 or R12. In the 1940s, we start to use the air conditioning in some luxury car. For example, in the picture, the Cadillac, if you might know. In 1950, we start to have more refrigerant in the market. For example, like a CFC 502 for a supermarket and the Freon 13 for the minus 100 usage. In 1970, we start to have an energy crisis, and so we start to have a focus on the efficiency of the air conditioning unit. And at that time, DuPont created the new refrigerant named R134A that have no ODP or ozone depletion potential. Later on in 1980 and 1990, we start to use a lot of car in the world, so nothing comes for free, right? When we use a lot of the car and the refrigerant unit, we found some ozone hole in Antarctic. So we don't like it, right? Because it makes our life even worse because the environment start to reflect our action back. So we have some conference and start to have a regulation named the Montreal Protocol to limit the CFC usage by 50%. As I mentioned, the Montreal Protocol is the trigger for us to save more energy to the world. But later on, we have more intense regulation to make our world more eco-friendly one. We have a Kyoto Amendment in 2016 to phase down the HFC or the next gen from the CFC to be limited usage time by time. As I show you here in the slide, we separate in the developed country and developing country. You will see that each of the countries will implement the limitation of the HFC fade down year by year. So this limitation will affect to the price of the HFC in the market, of course, and it directly forces you to use another refrigerant. And moreover, I want to say about the sustainable development goals. It is a mega trend of the world. And one of that, number 13, the climate action is the goal to the sustainability. And by far from the Montreal Protocol and Kyoto Amendment, I would like to separate the web of the refrigerant in flip web for more easy understanding for you all. And we also pick up some of the very popular one and the one that SCI have focused on to make you more understanding more easily. With the first one, the first wave, the CFC that already be banned. The next one, wave number 2, the HFC, we are generally using a lot of it, but it have a phase down time by time, as I mentioned. For wave number 3 and wave number 4 is a HFO1. It is a more eco-friendly one, of course, and the last one is a wave number 5, the natural one, contain like a R290 and carbon dioxide in it. So by this slide, you will have a question pop up in your mind that why don't we just pick the refrigerant that have eco-friendly to our units only? But that is not easy. Not just use the refrigerant that contain the potential, the lower potential to damage our world. We also have other aspects also, for example, like flammability, pressure level, compressor size, and of course the performance is very important. So from later on, I will talking more about each of the aspects. Start with the flammability. So flammability, we have the standard from non-flammable to the higher flammable, indicated by the A1 for the non-flammable, A2, A2L, and A3 for higher flammability. So if I drop this standard to our web that we separate, so you can see that if we choose more like a future refrigerant in the market to our unit, so it tends to have more flammability of your unit except the carbon dioxide. So you have to be very careful when you use to develop the unit with the more higher flammability. You have to be careful about the safety that your unit don't have any sparkling, or your unit have to release the higher flammability refrigerant in the environment quickly enough. For example, in terms of the compressor development, there are ATK regulation compliance, so we develop the compressor to rely on these one. For example, like a terminal with no sparkling at all. The next topic is eco-friendly that I mentioned earlier, but this light will indicate more some digit to show you some digit that make you more understanding. For example, like a wave number 2, the R404 that we generally use right now contain a very high GWP value up to 4,000. But if we choose to go to the wave number 3, 4, or 5, the number of the GWP of the refrigerant drop significantly to only single digit for the R290, and carbon dioxide contain only 1, for example. So the next one is the pressure level. Pressure level is very important for your unit because it decides what your equipment you have to choose for your unit. For example, like a piping thickness or other equipment like a expansion valve or others. So if we compare wave by wave, you can see that when you going to more eco-friendly one, the trend of the pressure level drop wave by wave, like a downtrend. So it is good for you because you don't have to over design your unit. Maybe you don't have to do anything to your unit, but there are some wave of the refrigerant that have advantage for you, because if the pressure drop much, it give you the chance to design more cost conscious to your unit. For example, like you can choose like a more thinner piping, for example. The other one, the compressor side, I want to mention in this topic because the compressor is the heart of your unit, right? It actually heart of every unit in the industry. And if we look separately, wave by wave, you can see that trend of the compressor side is going up wave by wave also. And some of that contain the compressor side over 2 digits. For example, like a R454C and the R290 contain like a 2 digit of the compressor side increasing. So you have to be very careful about this topic also, because once you use the more bigger size of the compressor, so it means that your unit need more space for it, right? More space for your unit, and of course price might be come in the consideration. And the last one, the very important topic, of course, the performance one. So same as other pages, comparing wave by wave, you can see that if we drop the refrigerant in your unit, wave by wave show that the performance is going up comparing to R4 or 4A. So it is good trend. If you only drop the new refrigerant in your unit will get more performance right away in uptrend line. So by far I know that there are many aspects and a lot of figure I show you already, but I want to recap you all to make it easy and easy to take away to your unit development. Started with the flammability. So if you choose more eco-friendly, the flammability come. So you have to be very careful about your unit design to have the safety enough. GWP, of course, if you choose more eco-friendly one, it is better for your unit. But it is depend on the country also. If your country have a trend to go to like a R290, it is good for you to develop your unit, maybe not too often, because the R290 contain a very low GWP and your unit will have a long life cycle, for example. For the pressure one, I show that the trend of the pressure level keep lowering down when you going to wave number 3, 4 or 5. So it is good for you to considering to design your unit more cost conscious. Next one is a compressor side. It's an upline trend when you use more eco-friendly refrigerant, and there are some refrigerant that affect higher comparing to others. For example, like a R454C and R290 contain like a double digit of the compressor size increase, so you have to pick the compressor well to match, and also design the space for it too. So the last one, the performance, it is good news that the web number 3 to web number 5 tend to make your unit have a better performance comparing to the current R4041. That is a good news. So from this point, I would say that right now you are really want to get up and start to develop your unit right away. So I want to mention about one important part, that is the compressor, the heart of the unit that I mentioned earlier. So don't look so far. Here in this live event, I proudly to present our new innovative product, our compressor lineup to support the new wave of the refrigerant start by the ATK Series that support refrigerant in wave number 3 and number 4. As you can see here in the slide, it contains from the wave number 2 also, 404, 448, 449, and also the wave number 4 like 454C and 455A is on studying. This compressor is an inverter scroll compressor that can support from medium temperature application to the low temperature one. So the usage will be perfectly fit for the 1-to-1 cabinet to the multi-indoor cabinet also. So the next compressor lineup is a DGW Series that also support for the wave number 3 and wave number 4 of the refrigerant. Also, it can support many of the refrigerant like a ATK Series also, and can support vary of temperature from medium temp and low temperature. Of course, this compressor will perfectly fit for the plug-in cabinet that can save the space of your unit, because this compressor have a horizontal design with the inverter technology, so you can get more energy saving to your unit. And the last one, the DPW Series, I would say that it have the horizontal design same as DGW, but this one support and create for the R290, that is wave number 5, the most eco-friendly one of the unit. And this one will also support to the plug-in cabinet that have a benefit to support the new regulation of the R290 charging up to 500 grams. This is a very important figure, because nowadays we are using like for example, if your unit need 500 grams, you need to separate the circuit to 3, for example, like a 153 circuit, and it costs a lot of money. So if the regulation change to 500, you only need to change to this compressor, just one compressor to your circuit, and it will work just fine and save a lot of money to your investment. So before we going to the question and answer section, I would like to say that we SEI, we not only develop the innovative compressor and keep it better, but we also have a new refrigeration lab right here. You can see it in another presentation in this virtual exhibition, and we also have an Agile team that contain the marketing, R&D, and customer support. So these three solutions can combine is good for you, because we want to be we try to be the greener solution provided every single day to be better for you. So I can say that if you decide to choose us as a partner, we can work together in a very long distance in a sustainable way. So thank you for your attention, and I think from live chat we have a lot of questions, so we picked some of it like a crucial one to answer you here. And if you don't get any answer or need more information, you can contact us with the email and website right here shown in the slide. Thank you.
Wow, thank you for your presentations. I love how you take it from the very old day, not only to the present, but also to the futures that we are heading to the natural refrigerant. And if you are choosing it, I mean, as you go from web 3, 4, 5, you will get a lot of benefit, right? And for the first questions for this sections, I will go with this question. So all compressor you have shown ready. If we want to get some sample for the testing.
Okay, thank you for the first question. So as I showed in the presentation, we have several models of the compressor I show you, from the vertical inverter and to the horizontal one, the ATK, DGW, and DPW, And I would say that all of these compressors right now are ready for the sample. So you can contact to our email right here in the slide, or you can contact our sales that you already talking to get more data and of course sample that you need.
Oh, right. So we are ready, and apart from the email or the salesperson that you have already contacted, you can really leave it in the live chat, and that will be engineers that will get back to you real soon. All right. So for the next question, kind of the consequence, I mean the following question to the first question. So in your presentation, you have mentioned about only about the compressor, right? So what about the driver and the controller? So does ACI have the kind of package solutions, like full solutions?
Okay, thank you for the question. It is actually the very good question, because when you want to develop the inverter unit, you not only need a compressor, it is not enough, you need the driver and controller also.
Right.
Yes, that's right. So I would say that in terms of driver, we have several solutions for you. For example, we have our in-house brand for the SCI brand for the driver, and we also have a good partner, like a potential partner in the market that you might already know well. And also in not only driver, for the controller also. For the example, if you choose like our driver or our partner driver, you can choose many of the controller brand in the market, like a local one and maybe multinational brand one. Both of the driver, of course, can support like a communication for the driver, for example, like a 0 to 10 volt or Modbus 2851.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Thank you for your answer. So to sum it up, you can get our driver or even our partner driver, and for the controller, it's easy to find, to match with our solutions. So you can contact ourselves to get that help to develop your product at a full solution. So we have the people to support you about that issue, right?
Yeah.
So for the next question, give me 1 second. All right, this one is very interesting, and I think it will answer like everyone questions in mind, because the natural refrigerant, I mean the R290 or even the transitional phase refrigerant like R454B, R454C is quite new. It actually new.
Yeah.
We have the sample for the tasting, but what about the tasting results? I mean, does all these compressors start implementing in the fields? Can you please give the answer to keep them a bit more confident?
Yeah.
If they meant to use our product.
So it is a good question also. It's a good question also because everybody don't want to be a pioneer, right? Yeah, everybody need to know that there's anybody already use this compressor with a new refrigerant already or not. I would say that you don't have to be worried about that because we have several potential customer in the world that if I say you a name you might know it well. But I will give an example in terms of the country. For example, we have a customer in Malaysia that support the unit to the UK, or have a customer in Europe that using the R290, of course. And this is only some few examples to make you have more confidence to start talking more about this new compressor and new solution we mentioned earlier. Yes.
Right. So the answer is yes. We actually have co-develop and work with some customer both in Asia and the European country to develop our R290. So we are quite confident that we will be your best partner. So contact ourselves so we can talk about this more in detail and start co-developing. Starting from the Web 3 to the Web 5, so we have like what you have mentioned in the presentation, right? That we have all compressors supporting from the Web 3 to 5. I mean, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have all that, and just leave it in the chat or contact ourselves. So interestingly about the refrigerant 10, you have mentioned a bit about the refrigerant 10, but can you give some idea about the refrigerant 10 in Thailand?
Thailand, of course, actually is our first priority of the development, of course, because SCI, our factory also established and produced the compressor mainly for Thailand, of course. So Thailand is our main priority. By the way, right now in Thailand, we are still mainly use R404. I would say that there are some customer in the convenience store that start to use R448 and R449, for example, in the very well-known brand that you might already use their service in the market right now. And some for example, in the wholesaler, if I mention, you might already know too, they use R290 for small unit also. So I would say in conclusion that mainly right now they use R404, of course, and some use a transition one, the R448 and R449, and some of the customer use R290 also. Yes.
Oh, right. So in Thailand we actually have all customers from using the refrigerant from Web 3 to Web 5, right? Yeah. That's good. So alright. So I think we are running out of time for this session, and thank you so much for all of your answers. I think it is really clear that we are ready. We are ready to take you from the Web 3 all the way to the natural refrigerant, the Web 5 of the refrigerant. So again, if you have any questions, just leave it there in the live chat, or even contact via our email directly to the salespersons. And let's move on to another presenters and stay tuned.